ットギャルバイクイン東京。何を見つけるかな。
ちょっとワンモメント。これって英語でなんて言うんですか？ディスカスティングですよね。許しませんですわ。これでどうだ。
Eledglema, first introduced as a PR card, is often grouped with cards like Megalanazuchi, Claudine, etc. as promo bosses. Before Divine Set 5, this was so ass with occasional locals tops of note, to be generous I guess. At that time, the biggest thing going for the deck, which is still one of the reasons why it's insane today, is shuffling back orders to restand VG and the rear. So if you hit criticals with the filter, you would make from VG, and usually after playing the Ava ride line, and then using Torrential and all that stuff, not only do you have a power gain on a Vanguard, but a rear guard swinging twice or thrice for critical. And of course, its potential was still hindered by the fact that it needs to high roll like crazy to have orders out, otherwise it was really slow and never saw actual proper play. But that's not what you're here for. You clicked on this video to see why this thing is still an absolute format beast, or monster, whatever. It came second in Worlds and is still seeing tops in large-scale JP events like WGP and Deluxe. What basically broke this deck was the addition of two cards that were later introduced in Divine Set 5. Jumbo Scrusher. What the hell is a Scrusher? And of course, one of the dumbest cards ever printed, Moeflash. Let's look at him first. The wording seems like, oh, it's only as many orders with different names. That's pretty tame, right? As part of judge rulings and to match wordings in Japanese text, as long as you fulfill the 3 different names, you can double up or triple up as many orders as you have in your hand, then you can slap them all into your order zone, then draw 1. Awesome. So, why is that good? This means instead of previously only getting really as high as perhaps 8 orders as a high roll before, you can go as something as high or even higher with 13 orders, or 18 if God forbid it's on your opponent's day. By also placing directly from your hand to the order zone and not needing to fulfill play costs, you can also cheat out order skills. You'll see cards that will draw cards and find cards to combo extend or even soul charge, Eclipse Moonlight to generate Shadow Army tokens as huge beaters or boosters, Blue Lab and Torrential to dig out for specific pieces to deck them more, and even Experiment Successful, which even binds an opponent's rearguard. With the game plan massively shifting away from just relying on Kennel, Habitable Zone, and Eledglema to fuel the order zone count, it became an insane turbo in both making a huge set order count and deck thinning as extra fluff to dunk on your opponent. And of course, the best support is also monsters. Savoid, which can be called from an order zone for Soul Blast 2 at any time when placed in a rearguard circle, and Tectian, when discarded, lets you top 5 for a set order. You can see where I'm going with this little loop, can you? As Torrential can put any monster into order zone as targets for Savoid, not only allowing you to fetch your Persona copies, Moeflash, Jumbo Scrusher, PGs if the build opted towards it, it also lets you continually dig for more set orders of Tectian to further out your combo. Savoid, however, costs 2 soul to call from an order zone and can be tough to navigate around. For this case, Meteor in Prison can be used to fuel soul, and even guarding early with soul fronts is also an option. Capsule from set 7 can also be used for the excess soul to make Eledglema more threatening on its restands. With the amount of options and interactions you can do in a turn with Eledglema, it turns your game into a solitaire simulator that makes Sorga turns look short in comparison. And eventually your order zone will eventually look like something out of a Tearlament's resolution board. But that's not where it stops. When you eventually create your final end board, it's now reliant on how much CV you're given. Not only was this deck given one of the dumbest cards that was comparable to Zarzan, but also one of the best beat sticks for Eledglema that isn't once per turn locked, by the way. What the f were they smoking? Jumbo Scrusher being an on-swing Counterblast 1 and Energy Blast 3 to give itself a critical and 10k power. In the context of that, when it resends a rearguard and doesn't stop getting bigger, so as long as there's an open counterblast, or when boosted by Savoid with Dog or Shadow Army for just a random power spike, why is this even a thing when this can array check crits? In response, it completely flips over your usual game of VG with the opponent playing against a deck that can randomly just OTK, worse if you're the one going second. A majority of the time, the opponent needs to manage damage to be in a range that can comfortably heal out of certain swings, and even then it simultaneously creates really awkward scenarios to play out in the deck if it's limited from their ideal CB count for the turn. More often than not, for a lot of matchups, it can create really bad non-games with whether the bat player or the opponent chokes out CB more. Also, being on high damage isn't any better when you need to guard, since you're playing up against the fact that this deck has 8 or more fucking swings, with a Vanguard and a rearguard that scales up with each restand. Pushing them too early also comes with its risk, with Jumbo's critical being live. You also can't deck them out since they also shuffle back their orders, so that's also off the table. So how exactly does this deck lose? You take advantage of the fact that you're navigating a deck with 0 real shield builds at time, and relies on whether the build flexes additional PGs or heal triggers, or just banks on going full power and just disregards the former. The burst turns of other top deck contenders can sometimes be enough to break an Eledglema's hand, but if you don't kill it, well, good luck if it just doesn't run out of gas. But there's also the same with Eledglema with it failing to OTK. So, all in all, what did we learn today? This deck is f***ing stupid, please ban Moeflash.